Let me do it this way. Let me put this over here. Here's Tel Aviv coming up right now. No, that's that's a protest in D.C. I think that's D.C. I'll keep an eye on that.
All right, live again. I was messing around with some settings and wanted to check how it looked. Planning on doing a multi-stream. By the way, yes, we're back with Agenda Free TV. Very, very good channel. So I'm going to try multi-streaming here. Give me a second. I'm going to grab...
That's Jerusalem there. Okay, good. Good. So I'll put the sound on in a second. I'm just getting these cameras up. So that's Tel Aviv, and then this one is Jerusalem here. Where is this thing? It's 4:45 Israel time. 4:45. No, I'm not aware of any new missile alert at the moment. You know, the Minnesota suspect has still not been found yet.
That's not good.
Oh, I have another one. I have Haifa. I have a shot of Haifa. Oh, I'm going to show that instead. Hold on. Haifa coming up, guys. Here's Haifa. Haifa, Israel. Put Tel Aviv on the second one. Guys, update about the damage we just saw in Bat Yam, with the big building damaged and some other buildings severely damaged. N12 News, Israel, says a mass casualty incident has been declared. And home front command forces are working to rescue the trapped, which makes it sound like they still think there are people trapped in that rubble there. And that's some really heavy rubble. I mean, they're going to need some kind of machinery to get that rubble up. I mean, all of it. Maybe they can rescue some people just with their hands, but again, it's the translation is large casualty incident. I guess it means mass casualty incident. Um, but again, that's from N12 News. If I had feeds like that from Iran, I'd show them too. I just don't have any. Um, let's see here. I do think I would be surprised if we don't see Israel do something that they can point to and say, we're doing this. Whatever that might be. Now, you might say, well, Israel brought this upon themselves because they attacked Iran. But I think there's going to be political pressure to do something else in Israel. Tate Bailey says IDF told people to stop giving away locations of where they've been hit.
Okay. I think we're actually live on... Let me mute this guy real quick so I can actually double check. Very loud.
I would be really surprised if the IDF...
I think we're actually live on Rumble now. This is multi-streaming on a different... Yeah, that works. Wow. Okay. Those open. And we're actually live on both platforms. I can't believe that actually worked properly. So from now on, I'm going to have to set them up completely opposite. All right. Get the...
Now, Plasma Guy thinks maybe reporters were interfering with the rescue crews by being there. Yeah, I mean, that's possible too. A home front command just sent out a message telling people not to go to those fall areas. I mean, I don't think it was specifically geared at press, but yeah, I mean, maybe there was a lot of press there and they were just like, you know, we need to work or something. I'm not sure.
Property.
All right, so there's not much going on in Israel or anything there, but Los Angeles is kicking off right now.
to try and keep this community safe. They have been moving the protesters along through different locations in here and separating them throughout different intersections during some of this extreme violence. Now, this began today with a massive protest. There were thousands of people here for, again, you know, what these anti-ICE protesters have been calling, you know, the No Kings Day parade. So you had, you know, thousands of protesters here, and again, things were calm, things were peaceful throughout the day, but as it got closer to curfew time, because a curfew has been issued for the downtown area, you saw that criminal element. You saw people come out and they're just hurling things at law enforcement, bottles, boulders, rocks, and I mean, that was just tonight. I mean, if we talk about throughout since last Saturday, I mean, the list of weapons and things that have been thrown at these officers here to protect and serve is just horrible. Hammers. I mean, I've seen people like hitting the sidewalk and like getting pieces of cement and throwing it at law enforcement. Just extremely dangerous. And again, we've heard that message from local leaders, state and federal officials saying this extreme violence will not be tolerated. And you can see they're doing their best right now to try and curb the violence. Again, that curfew was is set to go in effect in about an hour, but they have issued a dispersal announcement. They told the crowd that they need to leave. They did that earlier because of the violence that erupted. And so again, you have people out here, they're saying that they want everything to be peaceful, but then again, we see that violence, we see that criminal element. I'm going to continue to walk a little bit more on the sidewalk here. So when I talk about how fluid it is, it's extremely fluid. I mean, I started off this live shot just about a block away, and you can see how much law enforcement has moved since then. And on the other side of LAPD here, there's a whole bunch of protesters. I mean, I talked to one of my law enforcement sources, told me about maybe 30 minutes ago or so, there's still thousands of people down here. That is what he told me. And so, and that he wasn't sure how long it was going to be like this. You know, we were hoping today that it would be peaceful. You know, President Donald Trump, he deployed the National Guard, the 4,000 National Guardsmen, the Marines, the National Guard. They're here protecting federal buildings and federal personnel here. Right now on the street, you see LAPD, you know, doing their best with some of these rioters who continue to square off with them.
Yes, they are rioters. Thank you for just saying the truth there.
They move together, they walk together, and then they break off, and they are heading towards something. And you never know what they're going after. You know, at one point we heard, like, it sounded like someone was revving up their motorcycle in the crowd. That's when we noticed some of the rubber bullets being fired. People were again throwing things at officers. I saw it, I witnessed it. They were throwing bottles, and you can hear on the other side of the crowd someone revving up what sounded like a motorcycle. I mean, it could be so dangerous if they would have busted through that crowd and came right at law enforcement. And so again, they are doing their best to protect themselves. But since Saturday, I mean, more than 500 arrests related to protest activity. Again, most of them for people failing to disperse. You know, the unlawful assembly has been called multiple times, of course, throughout the week. That curfew has been issued for a mile around downtown, 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning. But here we are, an hour out, and I mean, just take a look. I don't know if, Andy, if you're able to get a good shot of that, but just how large that crowd is. It seems like they're moving slow. It doesn't seem like they have any interest in leaving, and that curfew is about to go into effect. So again, a very, very fluid scene here. We're continuing to monitor it, and just hoping that things can stay relatively calm. I know it's not. We have those down moments. Right now was a down moment, but again, things changed very quickly here. Back to you.
Just a frightening and dangerous situation. And Christina, just for
Looks like they have a pinata of Trump hanging from a tree. Okay, we're moving on. We have some footage here from, it looks like, Tel Aviv. Just gotta be careful here. When we see stretchers and stuff. Let me pre-screen this video, actually, before we do anything. Yeah, okay. I think we're good. Let me just. So we got some damage in the building there, and yeah, there you go.
Our viewers sort of orient us where this is, the location you're in. We are seeing images of what looks like mostly the LAPD, but as you mentioned, the Guard and Marines are also out there, presumably protecting the buildings sort of near and around where you are.
Right. So we did see some of the National Guardsmen earlier today. They were outside some of the buildings along the march route, and they were standing their guard. And of course, you had protesters shouting them down. We thank them for their service. They're out here bravely doing their job, and but they were down there, protecting the federal buildings, and again protecting the federal personnel. We're hearing more things popping off. I can see things over the crowd. I can see people hurling bottles at law enforcement right now. I don't know if you're able to see some of that, but you're hearing those flashbangs going off. I suspect tear gas might be deployed shortly. Again, law enforcement.
So it looks like things are really kicking off down in LA, and we have this footage from earlier as well. This is footage of missiles evading the Iron Dome. Just effing wild.
Doing their best at protecting themselves. And you got it? Hold on. Can you guys excuse us?
Look at this footage right here.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm putting on my
Live in LA, we're looking at police slowly moving down the street, pushing rioters back. We're hearing flashbangs, pepper balls, possibly rubber bullets. They're moving in a formation. We might see some arrests soon as well.
squaring off them. So you see how much we've moved just since we've been on during this live shot. I mean, we've moved several blocks. This has been going on for several hours now. That the police, they will get the crowd into it. Whoa! So we just jumped back because it appeared one of these riders threw something this direction. So we are behind law enforcement right now. We are behind the police line, as you can see, and somebody just hurled something else at the officers. And this is what, LA County Sheriff Robert Luna, he said yesterday, there have been peaceful moments. But again, he says his deputies, they're still facing dangerous situations. And this is exactly what he's talking about. You just do not know what to predict a lot of these times.
Christina,
back to you.
If I can just ask you, you mentioned 500 arrests, but you're also talking about some serious violence. Hammers being thrown, cement, rocks, you name it. The flashbangs that you're talking about. What is the end game here tonight? So we see the police are standing there.
So it looks like this guy on the motorcycle tried to drive up to him. And we got cars and everything driving directly up to the police and getting turned around. Look at this, guys. An entire road blocked off. These guys thought they could go down there. Oh, they're protesters as well. They're more rioters or whatever. I've got constant Israel, Iran alerts right now. We are awaiting anything on that front. Oh wow, it looks like we have major protests in Austin, Texas. Let me see if I can get some footage from Austin, Texas. What are we calling these? Riots? Oh wow, let's see what's going on here, ladies and gentlemen. So it looks like we have a bunch of people gathered in the road here, blocking off the road with traffic cones. I don't know. I've never seen that flag before. I don't know what that is. That's different. It's a mockery of the United States flag by the looks of it. The rising sun, almost. I think it's a police horse, but it looks like we're behind police lines here in Austin, Texas. I'm not sure. Oh, okay, there was the police. All right. So we have major riots in LA right now. I'm still watching this footage here. I'm going to drop it back down very briefly. Hold on.
That are being violent. And so I'm just wondering, you know, what their objective is and where this goes as we move later into the evening.
Right. Well, I'll start off by talking about those 500 arrests related to protest activity. Many of them were for failure to disperse, but that was since last Saturday. And again, for more serious charges, a lot of those arrests, including looting. There was one attempted murder with a Molotov cocktail, an assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer. I'm going to quote the sheriff here. He said, and this was his message to people coming out here to protest. He said, if you're throwing rocks.
So it looks like we have giant horses, mounted police on horses. This is in Austin, Texas, Central Texas.
See them, they have a method. They are moving this crowd along. I can see how they're sectioning off some of these protesters so it's not as large of a crowd. I can imagine if they all went in there and just tried to start arresting people, that would result in mayhem. So I mean, they definitely have a strategy that they're going that they're utilizing here for crowd control and to try and tame some of this violence. But again, unfortunately, we just don't know how this night is going to end.
Hey, Christina,
back to you.
It's Mark Thiessen here. Do the police seem to have things under control? Because the LA police chief a few days ago said that they were overwhelmed. Do they have enough people out there to contain the situation? And is the National Guard anywhere near you?
I'm not seeing the National Guard near me right now, but I'm just in this one particular location here in downtown around all these commercial buildings. I am sure, and like I said, I have seen National Guardsmen positioned throughout downtown earlier. And so we do know they are here. We have seen them. So yeah, they are definitely here. As far as outnumbered, there's so much, such a huge and heavy law enforcement presence here right now. These officers, they appear very calm and control. They're moving the crowd along, doing what they have to. So, I mean, I would not say they're outnumbered. I mean, I would wait for official statements on that. Yeah. But it does seem like they have a method that they have an effect right now.
Christina,
I don't know if they're outnumbered. I can't say that, but it does look like there's a crazy amount going on in LA, Austin. Oh, here we go. Yeah, okay, you can chant away, nobody's listening. Alrighty, while that is happening, take a quick look at anything happening over in the Middle East. It doesn't look like it. Got another angle here of DTLA protests. Put that Austin footage up there.
Gigi Graciette here in the Fox 11 studios as we continue with our coverage of the chaos right now happening in downtown Los Angeles during the No Kings protests. It's been just over 2.5 hours when the LAPD says outside agitators began attacking police officers. They issued a dispersal order. Many refused to leave the area, and it has been a chaotic scene ever since. We have Mario Ramirez and his photographer live on the ground, and we have been simulcasting on Fox 11 Plus and now Fox 11 with this continuing coverage.
Yeah, we are watching LAPD get ready for that curfew at 8 o'clock. Mario Ramirez was talking about everybody downtown may have gotten this alert on their cell phone, a reminder that curfew takes effect at 8 p.m. If you did not know there was a curfew, I would say, where have you been? This has been in effect for several days now in the city of Los Angeles, a 1 square mile area. Anybody watching from out of the country or out of the...
It looks like things are getting real bad in LA right now, guys. Like, yeah, just looking at some of the scenes from here earlier, leading up to the point we're at right now. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. So, stick around, grab a drink, grab something to eat, because we have protests here in LA, which are out of control. They are now riots. They've always been riots. They haven't been peaceful. We're talking about riots. Police getting attacked by rioters. We have footage of riots in Austin and in Central Texas. So I'm keeping an eye on that. But the main mess right now is downtown LA.
On the air. Mari Ramirez, on the ground, you've been following law enforcement along the way. Looks like a fairly calm moment. What do you make of this moment here?
Yeah, we haven't seen any rubber bullets being fired or tear gas or pepper gas being deployed into this much smaller crowd in the last couple of minutes. I would say maybe in the last 5 to 10 minutes. There they go. Once again, we're starting to hear that activity pick up here. This crowd, they came from Grand Park. A lot of them have been pushed from the front of City Hall and pushed into Grand Park, and then as we saw the skirmish lines continuing to build along Broadway and First, they kept pushing them down here towards Second, and it looks like this is where things have been stationed for the last little bit here, as a lot of the crowd has they've taken off here, and we did get an alert, an emergency public safety alert a little while ago. Maybe at the top of the 7 o'clock there were some alerts that went out, and we got one here that said the city of Los Angeles declaring that curfew in place from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. Residents within the boundaries of that curfew, a 1 square mile area, as well as those traveling to and from work, seeking or giving emergency care and emergency responders are exempt, but everyone else is breaking that curfew. And we just heard LAPD saying, move, move, and they are continuing to move that skirmish line here on Broadway, a little closer to 2nd South, and pushing that remaining crowd towards 3rd Street now. This is near the historic Broadway Metro station, again at the corner of Broadway and 2nd. Many of the people we spoke to coming in from outside areas, Montebello, Hawthorne, Inglewood, those are just a few of the locations that I was talking to protesters earlier who said they traveled here, some on public transportation because they knew the area here in downtown was going to be gridlocked, and within hours it would be packed with a lot of streets being closed off, which is what we're seeing here. Now, as far as the force from LAPD, we see a lot of LA County Sheriff's deputies out here, not with the LAPD at the moment, but we've seen that activity as well as National Guard troops making their way through this area. And for the most part, those National Guard troops, they're guarding, they're securing federal property and personnel, and they've also been assisting in these ongoing raids, at least some of them. They were seen, I believe, Thursday in blocking some of the streets where one raid was happening. And as we continue to see, for the most part, police out here, I do want to show you something. Elliot Mendoza behind the camera, if he can come down here, these rubber bullets, a lot of them on the street here, these were being fired at some of the demonstrators. So I was talking to a few earlier who said they were in extreme pain because of it. Obviously, they can cause pain, these less lethal munitions. And as far as the bottles and rocks being thrown at officers, we did see a little of that. And here at this intersection, maybe about 15 minutes ago, we saw a few bottles going into the sky. We didn't see them hitting any officers, but that's definitely been a concern out here with reports that that is what these agitators have been doing. Yeah, and we're seeing more of these less lethal munitions here on the street.
Yeah, so things are kicking off in LA. And it looks like the people in Austin are now, they're marching. They're walking away from the blockade here, but there's so many people down here in Austin. I just had a feed open. Let me get it back. This feed had it had... Here it is. Has Austin, San Antonio, Philadelphia, numerous LA angles. It's countrywide.
Foothill Unit Code 30 Ringo 12734
Sycamore Avenue, Suspect Male, Hispanic, 32 years, black shirt, black pants, code 2, incident 2678, RD 312.
Any damage unit 44 suspect there now, 8840 Corbin, target inside the store, female Hispanic, suspect, correction, suspect, female Hispanic, late 30s, black hair, white skin top, blue jeans, code 2, incident 2679, RD 17.
Holy crap, so there's a lot going on right now, guys. Wow, let's look at this. Take a look at this. Wow.
Began doing donuts in the intersection and spinouts, putting all of those people in danger. LAPD moved quickly. I believe he or she was detained, but those were the reports coming from the scene earlier this afternoon. So in addition to all of the chaos that we're seeing, the city is also dealing with other things. There's a Dodgers game on, which of course is great for sports fans. We have a Dodgers game, and you have this issue. And because of what's happening in downtown Los Angeles, we want to tell you there is what's called a TFR. That stands for temporary flight restriction. So we have Skyfox right there on the perimeter of downtown Los Angeles, zooming in. The crew doing an absolutely amazing job. Justin, thank you very much. We know how difficult it is, how challenging it is, being 1,500 feet above everything and being able to report with such detail what you're seeing from Skyfox. And there you see a long line of cars. We can see the flashing lights, and now reports of street takeovers as the protesters leave. Some of them leave, some of them get into their cars, but not leaving the immediate area. Justin?
Yeah, that's right. They're almost like they don't want to leave. And as they explained there, yeah, so Skyfox, we're limited by a 3-mile radius around Dodger Stadium. So that's actually putting us on the above the 10 freeway between the 110 and the...
All right, we have another stream here of, it looks like, Israeli emergency services in Bat Yam, where a missile struck. Looks like they're cleaning up some of the rubble here. If we do a little reverse in time, would you take a look at that? Yeah, that's quite the sight, that's for sure. Anyway, back to the craziness in LA.
Jump in their cars and eventually head home. As Mario was alluding to there, we're about 45 minutes before that curfew kicks in at 8 p.m.
Well, we are watching.
Just while you're there, I just want to I see something very interesting there, Gigi. We've got a person there with a hose. So they're hosing down the road, and I imagine that's so that people can start doing burnouts. That's to make the road a little bit more lubricated.
And Justin, Christine Devine has now joined us here in the studio. And I know you can't see it from your perspective because of that TFR. I do see the hose, but where are they getting a hose? Or is that... Yeah. Let's hope that's not a fire hydrant.
They probably just broke a fire hydrant.
Yeah, I would put my money on that it's a fire hydrant. The reason I say that is just the amount of water that's flushing out there, and also the height that it's coming out at. It looks like it's coming out at about 1 to 2 foot off the ground, and there's a large sort of fireworks there. So this is definitely taking over the feel of a street takeover.
Well, as you give us this picture from the air, obviously a much different picture from the ground there, where Mario Ramirez is. Right there as law enforcement is moving a crowd on foot as the curfew nears. It's a reminder that this is a very big city, and I'm thinking, is that the Wiltern there? Is that Koreatown, Justin?
It's still coming up as downtown for me. I believe Koreatown will be a little bit further west. So we're looking at this is yes, this is Broadway. Broadway between 6th and 7th at the moment. And they've opened up a second fire hydrant there by the look of it as well. And that's happening between 6th and 7th. Yeah. So it's certainly a couple of very nice hotels in this area. No doubt, of course, people who live in the area are still allowed to, even though the curfew goes into effect, they're still allowed to get into their residences. And you can see these people still making their way southbound. Unclear how they'll actually get out of here eventually, whether they would get onto the metro. Maybe that's something, I think one big thing to look at here as well, all the police resources are up here. So if they were looking at to try to take any of these people into custody, they'd actually have to flood the area, both Hill Street and the street to the right here. That's Spring, I believe. I believe it's between Olive and, sorry, I apologize. Hill is the one to the left, Broadway in the center, and Spring to the right. They certainly have to come in there and try and corner them, but unfortunately I just don't think the LAPD or the sheriffs have the resources to do that.
Well, it reminds you of what a big city we have here. Even that downtown area, that 1 square mile area, has a number of streets there. And so looking at the map, you are giving us an aerial shot southwest pretty much of where Mario is by just a couple of blocks. And you can see Mario's shot where you have a lot of LAPD officers on the ground there. We know Sheriff's Department. And then you see Justin's shot from Skyfox, and you see all of the vehicles there on the road. So it does give you an example that police are not on every street. Every street is not cleared in the curfew zone there. It may take some time, but let people know, as Mario said, he got an alert on his phone that curfew will take effect in about 45 minutes. And really,
okay, so in 45 minutes, it will be 8 p.m. in LA or California. And that's when shit's really gonna hit the fan, because the curfew comes. They're not supposed to be out there, right? When the curfew hits, you're supposed to be home. People are still gonna be out. That's when we're really gonna see the clashing, the real rioting. It's starting right now. They've already clashed a few times. We're seeing the police push them back. We're seeing traffic be redirected. Fire hydrants being cracked open. The craziness has just begun. We are 45 minutes away from the real craziness starting, though. When that curfew hits and they're no longer supposed to be out, the police will be arresting pretty much everybody on site. So, yeah, that's kind of what we're waiting for. We have footage. That was footage in LA. This is footage in Austin, Texas, or Central Texas, one of the two. I need to get some water. I'm already losing my voice. And this looks like it's either in DC right after the parade, or I don't know, but this is from the Florida Times. So it's either Florida or in DC. Based on the title here, I would assume DC, but we have quite the lineup here. So, a lot to go, a lot to come in the future here. Let's see what's going on in LA.
In this relatively small area. And, you know, oh, there we see what?
Cars. I'm looking at now, how do you move all these cars out of the way? That might take a minute. And it makes me think of Justin's aerial shot where he showed us all the cars there on the street there. You can see in the aerial shot. And now it looks like LAPD is right there. Can you imagine being bottled up in that?
And that is why the CHP has closed all the on-ramps and off-ramps to downtown Los Angeles between the 110 freeway and Alameda to prevent exactly a freeway takeover, but now you sort of have a street takeover. We have some breaking news. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department has confirmed that one of their deputies has been injured. The severity of that injury unknown as of now. This during a confrontation with agitators and or protesters in downtown Los Angeles. We are working to get more information. We also heard, and we're trying to get this confirmed, that one of the horses from their mounted unit may have also been injured in these confrontations. So we will continue to to work to get you the latest information on the chaos in downtown Los Angeles after a peaceful protest with tens of thousands of people that started around 10 o'clock this morning completely deteriorated. Christine Devine and I'm Gigi Graciette in studio. We have Mario Ramirez and his photographer in the thick of it, and Justin O'Brien, of course, up in Sky Fox, giving us the other perspective of people on the streets still.
What I'm noticing here is you don't have a crowd of people packing the street. You got a bunch of cars. If you know downtown, a lot of the streets can be one way. It looks like LAPD is going to now have to help funnel those cars out of the area with that curfew hitting in about 40 minutes. Sky Fox, we know, is...
What an absolute disaster.
We'll bring that to you soon. Right now, I can tell you this crowd, though, of people has been moved away from City Hall, away from Grand Park, away from your government buildings, and pushed this crowd back to now where you have a lot of cars. Looks like an officer has some concerns from somebody in one of the buildings, keeping an eye on that. All right, we're just watching here.
And that probably stems from, Christine, that the initial officers who say they took bottles and rocks and bricks, they were being hurled at them from people on an overpass at a much higher distance than they were. They were being thrown down at them. So obviously concern from any agitators that might be in any of those downtown Los Angeles buildings. We understand the A-Watch is now getting relieved. Those officers have been on duty now for 13 and a half hours. They will be replaced by the new incoming officers.
Oh, so there you have the officers there with those non-lethal, less than lethal weapons, those green guns that were drawn to the right, and the man in the Santa outfit still there. How you get those cars turned around and out of there from the back end, I'm not sure. Or is it just the responsibility of the motorist to figure it out? Or is LAPD at the different intersections that we can't see where they're able to funnel cars out? But obviously, there's a backup there. I would not want to be in the middle of that. Then again, I might not have been downtown at this hour with this dispersal, with this unlawful assembly. You heard from some people who told our reporter that they took public transit, much easier way to get out of the downtown area. With all of those people, you can see.
All right, so while that's going on, we have some scenes here from, I believe, Bat Yam, Israel, near Tel Aviv. We have, do a little scroll back here, about 5 minutes. Give you an idea of what the live feed has looked like over the past 5 minutes. It's, yeah. Not good, that's for sure. Israel and Iran back and forth the entire time. Over the past, probably, what, 70 hours now, at least. I mean, they've been doing this for a lot longer, but in terms of the barrages in recent time, we are well into the third day, I think. So yeah, interesting stuff, I guess you could say.
El Segundo to Linwood to Beverly Hills to West Hollywood. We have not been able to cover all of them, but on social media you have people posting about them. Obviously the biggest would have been here downtown at Grand Park.
We got some video earlier from Oxnard, Ventura
Watch
County.
the
They had
skies.
hundreds of protesters take to the street, and reports are so far very peaceful. About 100 protesters are still out in Oxnard right now. Let's go to Mario Ramirez and his crew on the ground. Mario.
Hi, Gigi. You're seeing these LAPD officers, maybe about 24, some getting into these black and whites here. They're running through this parking lot towards Spring Street, which is on the other side. We're watching as the remaining crowd here has been pushed from 2nd Street, now closer to 3rd Street. And we can tell you that we were passing one of the metro stations here just a short while ago, and we noticed LAPD officers were blocking the metro station at Broadway and 2nd Street. So it appears that anyone who is thinking about even using public transportation to come downtown or is planning to leave downtown using public transit, they may be blocking those entrances and exits, likely because of the curfew. Now, as for what you see here on Broadway, from 2nd to 3rd, this is not a one-way street. So fortunately, some of these cars are able to turn around and head in the other direction. And Elliot Mendoza was showing you some of the people in the buildings here that are watching from up above. Earlier, we saw one of the officers here pointing one of the rubber gun bullets towards one of the windows because it appeared maybe something came down, maybe an object was thrown, and it looks like they're still keeping an eye on that area as there are 2 people from a window up above looking down. So something.
So check out this clip right here. We have police, Tukwila police use pepper spray after anti-ICE protesters blockade. I mean, maybe don't block the way in? I don't know what else to tell you. That was wild. Holy shit. Anyway, let's go back to... We might have something going on here. Hold on. This looks like it's DC. The audio is very low on this one. I turned it all the way up. I think they arrested somebody. I can't tell based on this fucking terrible camera person. This cameraman is awful. But yeah, I think they arrested somebody. Yeah, somebody's getting arrested over there. Maybe multiple people. Oh, maybe not. Okay, I thought they had somebody down on the ground. Okay, maybe not. Never mind. See what's going on in LA.
They're trying not to get away. So LAPD seem to have success here, pushing these vehicles south. Unclear where all these people are going to go once they get towards the 110 and the 10 freeway. Christina and Gigi?
Yeah, well, that is a great perspective to let us know that cars are moving, and you see the bottleneck there at the top of the screen there, where there's having to be more of a merging of vehicles there and some turning down the street there. But good to see that there is movement. Obviously, you said they're waiting for the lights to turn. Do you see police at all to the south of our screen, to the south of our picture? Obviously, the skirmish line LAPD is operating to the north there.
All right, let's take a look on the ground.
As protesters continue to move around in different areas, I saw them getting together in what looked like a little parking area between a couple of buildings, and law enforcement cleared that out pretty quickly. They're like, you need to go. And of course, you know, they don't want people to get together and communicate and possibly cause mayhem, especially with this being such a volatile and unpredictable situation. So that is what we're seeing here. And again, you have so many people here, the protesters, who are they're calling for ICE to be abolished. They're calling for the immigration raids to stop. That is what they want, but that messaging, you don't hear it amid all of this violence here. So I'm standing here, you can see the police here, they're doing their best they can. I've moved just about a block since we've been doing this live shot, been moving all around downtown, and you have a lot of protesters still here. Again, we're a half hour from that curfew going into effect. It's for a mile around downtown LA. Are you okay, Andy? I'm gonna continue to stay in the street here. You guys watch for me so I don't hit anything. So let's stop here. Let's stop here. So Andy, if you can pan back behind me, look at this line of police vehicles. You see that reinforcement here. They have been, some of these officers, they've been on horseback. They're in their patrol cars. They're in patrol units. They're here on the ground. They're doing all that they can. I mean, this area, there is such a huge law enforcement presence in downtown ahead of this curfew going into effect for them to try and keep this area safe. Back to you.
Christina, if I can just ask you, we talked a little bit about the arrests that happened since last Saturday, and you told me a little bit about the strategy. You know, can you imagine if all of a sudden police officers started arresting people right now, it would erupt in chaos? But these protesters also cover their faces because they don't want to be able to be identified later. And Attorney General Pam Bondi has said, we will come after you, we will find you. And as a matter of fact, they've gotten a few of the organizers. Are there people still out in the streets? Because we can see the backs of the cops, but we can't see the protesters. Are they still all covered up and trying to hide their identities?
Right, well, a great deal of them are, and I can tell you this, what Pam Bondi was saying and what the sheriff reiterated yesterday is when people are breaking the law, when they're committing these acts of violence, they might not be arrested immediately, but they said that arrest will likely come because even if they try to cover their face out here, there are so many surveillance cameras, there are people recording things on social media. I mean, law enforcement investigators, they're going to comb through all this evidence and they're going to find people who are causing destruction down here. Right now, LAPD Central Division, they just put on X a message. They said to our downtown LA businesses and residents, please report any criminal activity to LAPD Central Division. Any damage or vandalism should be safely documented. So they're calling on the local business partners out here. They're calling on people who have access to surveillance cameras to turn all that evidence in because they're going to comb through it and they're going to look for the people who have been lobbing, you know, concrete and boulders, rocks, commercial grade fireworks at lawn.
And I hope they do get them. I hope they get every single one of them. All right, let's get a look at Austin here. Austin, Texas.
We did not see any confrontations with law enforcement officers, so we don't know of any arrests that had to take place. But we know that law enforcement did show a very strong show of force and seemed to keep things pretty much in control. Back to you, Meredith.
Okay, so it sounds like absolutely nothing is happening in Austin, but we have footage in DC where the Army parade, I think, just happened, and shit is kicking off there. There's no audio from there. So I'll have to find another feed, but for now we can take a look at that while I run some audio in the background.
Yes, there's no LA
to handle it. So they will handle it appropriately, but this happens when we come to the hour of darkness as we're approaching that curfew time, which I'm glad the mayor did the curfew because we need to clear this area out, and this is the easy way to get this done.
But Dennis, Gigi Graciette here. Thank you for joining us on Fox 11. Dennis, if they didn't disperse when they got the dispersal order, do we really have any faith that they're going to leave when the 8 p.m. hour reaches and the curfew goes into effect?
Well, then they'll be arrested. Then they'll simply be arrested because now they're breaking the curfew, so they'll be arrested for the violation. So maybe they want to make it, we have a 30 minutes left before that time, or 25 minutes. So as we come to the hour of 8 o'clock, and we're just past 7:30, so we'll see what happens with it. But then the command will be, let's move in and let's start arresting these people because they're simply there to agitate. They're not there for anything other than to create problems. And we saw the person doing donuts in the middle of the intersection. They're there to create this problem. And clearly we have sufficient resources. There's officers, so those command posts have plenty of personnel to handle it, not only with the LAPD, but the Sheriff's Department and the other allied agencies on this mobilization. We have other allied agencies that are assisting. So there's plenty of personnel there, but they bring in the buses, and that's what I said initially when this started, to arrest these people, get them out of there, let them go through the criminal justice system, and then we can bring this matter to conclusion, and hopefully we can go back to normalcy next week.
And Los Angeles County District Attorney Nathan Hochman, as you mentioned, Dennis, has made it abundantly clear that he plans to prosecute anyone arrested, whether it be simply violating the curfew, failing to disperse, or some more serious charges. And Dennis, I don't know if you heard, but LA County Sheriff's Department has confirmed that at least one deputy has already been injured.
Well, I know that some LAPD officers have been injured also. Fortunately, not critical injury, but they have been injured. Now, man, these officers aren't used to this type of activity. I joined in 1968, so I've been through a lot of situations and turmoil within the city. And many of these officers, the first time they've encountered something like this. But with our department shrinking, as we see, shrinking with 8,800 officers, there's officers that are going to look at this and say, do I really want to continue with this? This is not unusual. This is a very unusual occurrence. We don't see this happening very often in Los Angeles. And I hope those officers will understand this is a unusual situation. But again, since my time when I joined LAPD in 1968, I've been through many of these situations, and you get numb to it after a period of time, but you understand this is what we need to do to maintain law and order in a civilized society that we have here in the United States of America. So they will encounter this. Many of these officers, again, the first time they've encountered something like this, normally you tell someone to comply, they comply. This situation. But again, remember this afternoon, everybody was obeying. Everybody was complying. It was a wonderful, could have been a festival. And what it turned out to now is as darkness sets in, they're professional agitators, and these are simply there to create problems and to agitate and to stir the pot. That's exactly what they do. And some of them want to be arrested, so I'm sure we'll accommodate that and incarcerate them.
Well, Dennis, you've dated yourself. Gigi and I were talking about the many scenes of unrest that we've covered over our...
All right, we got some more images coming from a city called Bat Yam here in Israel near Tel Aviv.
You know, I do wonder. This is what the impact of this event will be politically. I mean, for like, look, obviously, I'm sure Israel was expecting Iran to fire missiles at it when it started conducting all these military strikes in Iran. But now we have this case where, you know, 3 people are dead and 35 are missing. So, I don't know if this is going to put pressure on the government to respond in some kind of way, a different way to Iran. I mean, some people might say, well, does it put pressure on the government to stop the effort against Iran? I don't know. I can't speak for the Israeli people, but I would think that if the government is going to keep the Netanyahu government is going to keep up its campaign, they might need to do something to say, look, population of Israel, we punished Iran for this. I think this is a huge deal. I mean, again, it's a huge deal on either side when people get killed. But I think this event could politically be a huge deal and affect how Israel conducts its operation. Our viewer Control-Alt-Delete thinks they're in too deep to...
So there you have it. We had some footage coming out of there. Look, this is footage from DC right now. Got a large police presence there and an even larger one in LA.
That officers are once again taking commercial-grade fireworks being launched at police officers. This happening at Broadway and 3rd. You are looking live at our shot, Skyfox above Broadway there, and you can see that skirmish line as they continue to push protesters. But we have seen all morning long reports of commercial fireworks being thrown at law enforcement. Dennis, somebody who goes to a protest and says that they're there peacefully but has a commercial-grade firework in their pocket, that sort of dispels the notion that they're there for a peaceful event.
Well, you obviously know when they're going with that to come to an event such as this, you know they want to cause trouble. You know they want to cause trouble. They want to cause problems. And we'll be very accommodating in taking them to jail and letting their district attorney, who's very aggressive, to prosecute them. And if they harm someone, they could face some very serious charges. If those firecrackers, the weapons they use, whatever against the police, they could be charged with some very serious felonies. So they're risking some time in prison if it escalates to that. But simply, all you have to do is leave. They tell you, turn around and walk away. It's simple. They don't want to do that. They want to sit there and have a confrontation, and we have enough resources there and enough training, enough experience, enough veterans that are there with the police department. They will be more than happy to accommodate them. So it's just a matter of time. We'll get this cleaned out shortly, and those that want to remain, they'll be taken down to the station. They'll be booked at the police facility, and they'll spend some time in jail and they'll go to court and stand by and get your attorney and get the money ready to defend yourself, because remember, we video all these activities along with what you're doing. The police department has taking video of this situation, so we're well prepared for the prosecution. We wish we didn't have to do that. We wish they would just leave. They've shown their support. They've shown what they believe is appropriate. Fine, now go home. But no, they don't want to do that, so the consequences are going to be severe, very severe.
You know, I'm wondering, when you detain somebody at a protest, let's say they're let's say they're breaking curfew, how does that work? Are they held all night till morning? How does that work? And I'm not sure you want to say where they go, but obviously they are detained for a portion of time to disrupt their life and several hours at least of their life. How does that work?
Well, they're going to run them through. If they got any warrants, that'll be an additional charge. Post bail, depends on the circumstances. If there's any unusual circumstances involved, or just failed to leave the area with the curfew, and it could escalate to very serious charges. They could have felony warrants in file. They'll be held until they do a full check on these folks, and they'll go through the criminal justice system to check them through the computers that they have available. They'll do the full check. So they'll say,
okay, so we have protests, riots in LA, Austin, and downtown Las Vegas. Looks like a pretty large police presence in downtown Las Vegas. So I will be keeping an eye on that as well. But for now, we'll stay in LA.
Into that skirmish line, it looked like perhaps one of those less lethal weapons was fired there by an officer. I'm looking at that sign of the Grayson Bar as well as we pull out there and show that wide shot of our beautiful downtown area. I'm thinking of all the businesses that are suffering, unable to have regular customers there on a Saturday night. That Grayson Bar is one of the bars downtown. We know it's really been built up over time. And Dennis, as you look at this wider shot here, and we think of this greater 1 square mile and how much the downtown area has been built up for people that are just listening who don't live here, compared to years ago, downtown wasn't an area where you went to a restaurant or a bar on a Saturday night. You kind of you avoided downtown, but now it's a thriving area for a nightlife, and that's not happening tonight.
Exactly. Nightlife, a lot of activities there. We got a Dodger game taking place at the stadium, which is very close to downtown. People oftentimes want to go to downtown and have something to eat either before or after the game. So a lot of activity is disturbed by this, but this is a downtown that's very vibrant. A lot of activity, in addition to the stores, which were looted over the last few days, a lot of restaurants. A lot of people like to go there. But with this situation, it's going to harm those businesses. When the curfew takes place, those businesses have to close. So those employees are not going to get paid for that, and the store is going to suffer the consequences. Whatever kind of store it is, if it's a restaurant, it's going to suffer. So the people who live in that area are also impacted. There are a lot of residents that live full-time in downtown Los Angeles. They're impacted by this. So this causes a lot of inconvenience to a lot of people who've done nothing wrong. They live in that area because of whatever reason. They're close to work. They like the downtown area, the environment. But this disrupts many, many people. And that's the sad part, is there's disruption to good, legitimate, law-abiding citizens. It's not necessary. As we see the officers that are in their skirmish line, they're getting ready to confront, and they'll be moving. We know we got a lot of traffic going at this particular time, but once that magic hour approaches, which is pretty quick, they're going to lock that area down, and people who haven't left are all going to get taken on those buses.
And Dennis, I was live in Little Tokyo yesterday, and we talked about the businesses closing. They were closed as of yesterday, closed and boarded up. We're talking about banks, small businesses, restaurants, mom and pop shops, the Japanese American Cultural Center, the Japanese American Museum there. And we watched, and I spoke to several tourists that were visiting Los Angeles from Japan precisely. They had come to Little Tokyo, and they were taking pictures of the boarded up businesses and the messages that were posted to any possible people wanting to create civil unrest or hurt their businesses. The messages basically said, please respect, we're immigrants too. One message was, you know, our great-grandparents, our grandparents were in the Japanese internment camps, and so please don't hurt our business. You know, it's because of our grandparents and the sacrifice of immigrants that we're here today. And it was just heartbreaking to see, because this is the message, this is what they see, and this is what they'll take back to their country. And Los Angeles is very dependent on the income from tourists.
Exactly. And well, those tourists are going to think, do I really want to go down? When you see all the graffiti that's spread throughout the area, and we see the media coverage that's now been international media coverage, people are going to say, oh, I don't know. I don't think I want to go to Los Angeles, because they don't think about the 1 square mile area that the mayor keeps talking about where the curfew takes place. They think of Los Angeles as the entire area from the Pacific Ocean all the way in. That's what they think of Los Angeles. So this is a detriment, and all those sports activities that we have down there, and the clubs and the restaurants and the activities that people want to go after the Dodger game. I mean, many people want to go to some of the restaurants and relax. You know, that's going to be shut down. So there's a lot of inconvenience, and a lot of people are going to suffer financially. Those storekeepers are going to suffer financially. And those places that have been broken into, where they've been looted, that's another problem they have to deal with. So as you see, we've got a massive show of law enforcement. This is just one part of the city, the downtown. We've got the valley, we've got the south, we've got the west. We've got officers scattered throughout this city of Los Angeles. So clearly enough resources, but the fact is the impact is going to be lasting for a lot longer. When this comes to an end, this impact's going to continue for days and months to come.
Well, we should note, with the Homeland Security and ICE operations continuing, this doesn't end Sunday or Monday when it comes to what's happening in Southern California. Obviously, the No Kings protests were planned way in advance and not tied to that at all. They were tied to the Trump administration and other things happening in Washington, D.C. But with the ICE operations continuing, Dennis, I mean, do the protests continue day in, day out, week in, week out? Could be a longer process for us.
Well, absolutely, but I've heard that they're going to be modifying some of those ICE activities. That I've heard that they've come to realization that a lot of these people, there's other ways to handle it than to go in through the way they're doing it at car washes, etc. And I think you're going to see a modification of the deployment when it comes to next week's activities with ICE agents.
We heard that a modification when it comes to hotels, restaurants, and farm workers. Are you hearing something beyond that?
Well, that's what I've heard originally, but I think what happens is, coming from the political background, that's the beginning, and I think you're going to see that enhanced into some other areas, because there's a lot of people in Los Angeles, the DACA people, and we have police officers that are Los Angeles police officers who come from immigrant families. Many of them come from immigrant families, and they're members of the Los Angeles Police Department, so I think they're going to make a modification. I think that the national level, they're going to come to realization this isn't going to work. When you see these kind of protests around the country, that's a very strong message that somebody's got to hear. So they came out with the initial, and every time they come out with the initial response, you're going to find that response enhancing other areas. And I believe we'll come back to a reasonableness. No one's opposed to the law being enforced. Do it on a fair, impartial manner, and don't go picking on certain people just because they're easy to take, whatever kind of profession they're in. And a lot of people are struggling. I mean, just if you look at the cost of living in Los Angeles, just the cost of gasoline, it's ridiculous, and people have to struggle to make ends meet. So many of these people in California, we do have in the state of California a policy, and there's a written policy in law. We do not enforce immigration, period. That's been a long-standing policy in the state of California. So when you have something like this take place, all of a sudden it's like an earthquake. It's a major shatter of the system that people have become accustomed to. So I think you're going to find our national leaders to come to a realization that this is not going to work. We can't continue with this type of situation, this type of conflict, and people having these consequences that have to deal with it every day. We can't continue working these officers 12 hours a day indefinitely. We can't continue to depend on the highway patrol to abandon the freeways and come in and help out. We need to come in with reasonableness, and the laws need to be reasonable. I saw what happened with my former colleague, Alex Padilla. I saw what happened with him. We were colleagues on the city council for many years, a personal friend, to see what happened with him. The situation starts to become extreme, and I think we're facing that extreme level.
All right, we got this angle here going on.
During the riots here in LA, and their federal partners, they say they're going to continue. Let me scoot back just a little bit. They say they're going to continue to enforce immigration law. They're going to continue with these immigration sweeps to do what is necessary. They said to keep the community safe. They've already arrested, they say, a number of illegal aliens with prior criminal histories that include drug trafficking, assault, cruelty to a child, domestic violence, robbery, and smuggling. They say that was some of the prior criminal histories for some of the illegal aliens that they have arrested during these immigration sweeps here this week that protesters continue to call out and say they want stopped. Again, Trump administration officials saying they are trying to keep the peace and trying to help keep the area safe. So here we are again. We're at this intersection. We're 8 minutes away from when that curfew was supposed to go into place. Earlier, just hours ago, they had they issued a dispersal order because of the violence that erupted here, and it's unclear how long this goes on tonight. It really is. I mean, people just keep moving around.
I could just go back to the shot that you had the photographer focused in on that was elevated, people from above, not necessarily knowing whether they're causing a disruption or not. But let's just say someone was to hurl something like a rock or a piece of concrete from that distance. You could potentially kill someone.
Sorry.
So I know they're looking into it because they want to see, what exactly is happening. But to me, it's crossing lines of escalation every minute that passes.
That's right. Every single minute, incredibly dangerous. If somebody did in fact drop, rocks, concrete, just any kind of object from that elevated level here on those officers, who knows how that could turn out? Just extremely dangerous. It's like we were seeing in Paramount last Saturday. You had protesters, rioters throwing boulders and cement at officers, at law enforcement vehicles. I mean, that could have caused a crash. That could have killed someone. So this is the extreme violence that we're talking about. And if someone in fact is doing that, again, so much surveillance video, so many surveillance cameras around here, law enforcement is going to comb through that evidence, and that could be, a potential assault with a deadly weapon on a peace officer, right? I mean, these are serious charges, and law enforcement, they say they're not going to put up with it. They are not going to accept this extreme violence. Back to you.
Christina, we've been with you on and off now for an hour, and you've been you're behind the police line, and you're moving forward. Every time we watch you, you're walking backwards and giving us these great reports. How much progress have they made while you've been with them? And where are they trying to push these protesters? Are they trying to push them into an area where there's other police that they can sort of circle them, or what is the objective of moving these, trying to move these protesters back the way they are?
Well, it appears that they're trying to separate. It appears that they were trying to separate those very large crowds, and they were very effective in doing so, deploying the tear gas and the rubber bullets. That's what they were doing, and they were very successful in that effort. And compared to the thousands of people that were here hours ago, and how few people I'm seeing at this intersection right now, I would say their method is very, very effective. Lots of law enforcement here, huge presence. You have LAPD, you have the sheriff's deputies. It sounds like we're hearing sirens about to come by right now. I'm not sure what is going on around the corner, but I would say they are doing an incredible job in a very unpredictable and dangerous situation.
Christina, it's
and also in terms of clearing them out, I imagine they are trying to get them to leave. They have been calling for people to disperse. They want people to leave this area, and again, that's why they issued that curfew, city officials, from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. For a mile around downtown LA.
Christina, that's what I was just about to ask you. The curfew is less than 4 minutes away. What do you anticipate happening after that? Are the police going to go in and start arresting people?
I believe they will. Now, I have not seen that happen yet. I have not been out here since this curfew has been in place. But when you're disobeying law enforcement, you're disobeying orders, that is what happens. And so, we're waiting to see what takes place next. I will tell you, in this intersection, it is cleared out. It is cleared out from what it was even just a half hour ago. So they are effective in their efforts here to move people away and stop them from gathering en masse in these locations throughout various points of downtown. And so it seems like things are safe here, but again, things could change at a moment's notice. So
Okay, so it looks like the protests here in Vegas are just, I don't know, they're not doing too much, so I'm probably gonna stop watching those, as the LA ones are the most wild right now.
Being thrown at LAPD officers. We haven't seen that activity since then, but that is definitely something that these officers are worried about now, as we're passing a few of these residential buildings here along Broadway, including Perla, where we saw those objects being thrown from the top of the building there. So this crowd continuing to move, that curfew in place in about 2 minutes here, as we're watching and waiting to see, once that curfew hits, exactly what's going to happen with these remaining people out here on the streets of downtown LA.
I couldn't help but notice you've made your way all the way to 4th. When we started with you, you were back on 1st, so obviously some progress there.
Yeah, and it has been working. Every couple of minutes, they will be moving the crowd. They stopped here because of those objects that were reportedly coming down from up above. But yes, slowly but surely, they've been using less lethal munitions and moving these people from block to block. We started in front of City Hall near Main and First, and they made their way up into Grand Park and then onto Broadway, and then down here where they've been stationed here for the last maybe 15 minutes or so, as that curfew is getting closer and closer.
So, Mario, I am fascinated by the shot of the wine bar, Sardines Wine Bar. Not been to that one, but I know it's a vibrant downtown LA area now, with these restaurants and these condo complexes and apartment buildings. With a curfew in place, I'm surprised that business is still open, or right now are they staying open because of all the police activity and nobody's moving there, do you think?
You know what? Are you guys staying open? We're asking. You're one of the managers. You work here. Yes, so this guy says he works here. He says they're kind of stuck here for now because obviously they can't come out onto the street. So they're not accepting people inside, clearly, but the patrons that are inside, we see one man in there with his dog. Maybe some of the people who were out here on the street as things started to escalate went into this business, but this is why so many of them decided to close their doors. We saw a lot of them with the fencing, making sure that they were boarded up if they had glass storefronts, and throughout the last couple of days, as we've been working through some of these areas, many of these businesses writing on the storefront, on the boarded up storefront, Mexican owned, similar to what we saw during the George Floyd unrest, many trying to avoid the vandalism and looting by appeasing to those crowds here in downtown LA. Gigi.
I don't know if that manager is willing to talk with you any further. I sense he might have been just a little hesitant, but was just answering your questions. But I'm wondering what it means for them to have a Saturday night with no business due to a curfew, and a Friday night and a Thursday night last week.
You know what, the manager here, we're talking to a customer. You've been watching here. Oh, okay, you're the owner. What is this like here? I mean, seeing this activity, this is your business. You decided to stay open here. Walk me through that.
Yeah, I think it's...
All right, so yeah, that's fantastic, buddy. The fucking riots are crazy. We're going to be looking for another angle here. In the meantime, though, we have some crazy footage coming out of Israel.
You can also find the link to the notifications in the description of this video on YouTube and Facebook. It's in that description. So sign up for the free notifications. Also, I really want to thank our moderators. You know, they're incredible. They're always in the chat. We couldn't have the chats without them. That's the reason why we have chat rooms. We're able to have chat rooms as our moderators. They're amazing. So thank you so much. We've had a lot of moderators in and out today. Right there, right now, RJ. Thank you so much, RJ. And all of our other YouTube moderators who've been there today. Over on Facebook, Paul Anderson, Kay Lowry Body, Christina Neal, Ava Knight, Margaret Riley, all of our moderators over there. And on Twitch, all of our moderators on Twitch, thank you. Bastion Girl, Idaho Star, I got that fire. Mark HNC, Matthew Kohai 3, McBritches, Sarah and Surly Dev, all of our other Twitch mods too. Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha on X. Huge thanks to all of our mods. You are the ones who allow us to have chats on the channel. An essential part of the channel here, so thank you. Hold on a second here. Maybe I'll put up on the screen real quick. I can show you the Tel Aviv shot. Do I have a Tel Aviv shot here? Tel Aviv skyline. Here we go. That's Tel Aviv right there. I owe a thank you to, hey, Robert Moore. That's very generous of you, Robert Moore. I really appreciate your support for the channel. Robert Moore, thank you. That's kind of you. Also, thank you, Ken Lance, for your support. Thank you so much to Max, the French Canadian. Yeah, no mods, no chat. Exactly. Christopher Kriva, thank you. Alex Glanz, thank you. Andrew Wimberly, Austin with no. Aspen Glow, thank you.
Okay, so we have another angle here from LA. Here we go.
What's up, Hollywood guys?
That guy literally had a Modelo in the passenger seat.
Yeah, they got SWAT guys on the roof.
They're yelling out the windows up above.
calling for people to peacefully assemble, and they've been working with multiple agencies. We know that Unified Police Department, the Department of Public Safety, Sheriff's Office are all were ready to provide support. That may be why they were able to react so quickly.
Yeah,
they had so
Okay, guys, it actually looks like we have some crazy news here. Let me see if I can find these Salt Lake City protest.
this crowd.
Yeah, so it looks like at the Salt Lake City protests, one person is critically injured in a at the protest here, at the SLC protest, Salt Lake City. So the, you know, quote-unquote peaceful protests that the media has told you were peaceful time and time again, well, would you look at that? They're not so fucking peaceful, aren't they? My God. I don't know any details other than the fact that it happened.
Between 1 and 200 South, and you can expect blocks in every direction will be closed for the next several hours. Avoid the area if possible. If you have a loved one, someone that participated in this rally, you'll want to make contact with them, but give each other the space to get out of downtown at this hour. Police activity investigation unfolding here as they try to understand what happened. We've heard from organizers who quickly said, we called on a peaceful protest. This is an outlier, someone that was looking to be an agitator and frighten and cause violence in the community.
Yeah, you know, we keep showing some of the same video here, but the reason why we keep showing some of the same video, because this really illustrates what happened and how quickly it unfolded downtown. Again, as we've been talking about, 10,000 people or so in this area. I mean, when shots go off, it's going to be a very terrifying experience. Some of the emotions coming from some of those that we interviewed, getting very emotional about the experience that they had.
And not knowing which direction to
right,
go.
Exactly.
Right,
like,
as we're seeing this happen in the newsroom, we're seeing everyone running in every direction. You're trying to figure out where those sounds coming from.
Even Alex and Emma there. Let's get back to Emma Benson, who's there live at the scene. Emma, where are you at, and what do you see right now?
Hey guys, yeah, we're still here, 100 South and State Street. It looks like the crowd has mostly dispersed and cleared out. There were a lot of people earlier, but most of them have gone home, understandably so. It looks like there are still some police cars here. They have the area blocked off. I just want to point out that this is the area about right where it happened, where we heard the shots fired. People started running. It was just pure chaos, honestly. People just started running. I saw police officers run into the parking lot of that garage there of the building, Liberty Sky. It's an apartment complex. I saw them chasing someone into the parking garage. We are told again that that suspect is in custody. I did, however, see a body on the ground just on the street right here. That person was bleeding, and we were told that they have been taken to the hospital and are in critical condition. We don't know much more besides that at the time. We don't know if there were other victims. We've only been told about that one person, and we don't know if there was more than one shooter or not. We only know about the one shooter who was taken into custody. As Alex mentioned, though, police, law enforcement, they acted very swiftly. They jumped into action, trying to catch the person and administering aid to the person who was injured as well. A lot of swift, quick-thinking people here at the protest, as they were very ultra-prepared in case something like this were to happen. They were prepared for the worst, of course, as we've been talking about. The plan was for this to be peaceful, you know, and this happened, but unfortunately they were prepared for it. Again, most of the crowd has left by now. We still have lots of police officers here and people taking care of the scene, though. Back to you guys. Garnet.
All right, thanks a lot, Emma Benson, for us there. And you've been watching some of the video there of the suspect apparently in handcuffs. You know, this video, we don't know how he got injured or what happened there exactly.
We heard police yell garage, garage, and we saw them rush into that garage near to the Sky Apartments there on State Street.
And here's the video right here that we've been talking about here of the suspect in handcuffs sitting on the sidewalk there, and then shortly thereafter, as we see right here, he's taken by ambulance and getting into the ambulance. Now, we don't know if this is the same guy that told that one suspect, or I mean, not the suspect, the guy that was being interviewed there, hey, I'm not the shooter, I'm the victim here, you know, that kind of thing. And we don't know why he was injured. I mean, why, you know, what happened or what transpired. If this is a shooter, you know, kind of what happened there.
We have seen, we won't be showing you those images of the victim, who we believe was the victim. We believe at this time that these images are the suspect, and we will wait for police to give us that official confirmation. We're also just coming into the newsroom, a statement from Governor Spencer Cox saying,
the shooting at tonight's protest in Salt Lake City is deeply troubling, act of violence, and has no place in our public square. This is an active situation, and we're working closely with law enforcement to ensure accountability. So again, this is a statement coming from Governor Spencer Cox just moments ago in regards to his reaction to what happened here, calling it deeply troubling and also an act of violence, and no place for in this kind of thing. This is exactly what we've been covering all week long here in regards to how police have been preparing. We knew that this protest was coming this weekend. We knew it was going to be big. We knew it was going to be huge, but everybody was hoping.
We knew it was going to be big, and we knew it was going to be huge, and we said it was peaceful a million times. Well, it turned out to, well, not be peaceful. All right, let's take a final look. Oh my goodness, looks like we have, not a final look, I don't know why I said that. It looks like we have a group of people in the middle of the intersection blocking traffic.
These issues, we've seen them throw things at police. Police have reported commercial fireworks being used. We saw that. We also saw that in Santa Ana during the week, fireworks being lobbed towards law enforcement officials. There, of course, Orange County Sheriff's Department and the Santa Ana Police Department. But a lot of folks came out with fireworks, and we're being told they are the commercial grade. Pepper balls were launched, trying to get the crowd to disperse. Those foam projectiles, known commonly as rubber bullets, were also shot. And we do have one confirmed report of a Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputy that has been injured. You are looking live. And let's bring in now Hunter Dunn. He is one of the coordinators of the No Kings protest. Hunter, good evening. Where are you joining us from?
Hi, I just got home from the protest in downtown Los Angeles.
And
all right, Soy Boy on the microphone. As he's talking, we're going to go over to the Iran-Israel situation.
Not going to stand for it.
So when Donald Trump left office 4 years ago, the world was at peace, and he inherited a world on fire. and he is in the process of trying to deal with that mess. There are going to be 84 aircraft flying over the National Mall. There's also dozens of B-2 bombers stationed in Diego Garcia right now, and there's military there. We have aircraft carriers stationed in the region, and Iran is watching this, and they ought to be very cautious because Donald Trump told them in his last term, he said, if you harm a single American or one of your proxies harm a single American, we're not going to just hold the proxy responsible, we're going to hold Iran responsible. And so now they have a choice to make whether they retaliate against us for Israel's attack. And it would be, watch this parade. I say to the Ayatollah, watch this parade, because you don't want this coming down on you.
Oh, I think they definitely will be watching. And Mark, you bring up a great point. Miranda, I want you to respond to it, because it's this notion that potentially, if Iran wants to escalate this, they do go after U.S. assets, and that changes the ball game dramatically.
And that's why this parade could not have been better timed by Providence. I mean, the fact that it is Flag Day, the fact that it is Donald Trump's birthday, and the fact that it occurs the day after this Israel-Iran war has erupted, I think, you know, there's a reason for it, and it is to show our adversaries around the world that, you know, you don't mess with the United States military if you have got any brains at all. It's a real deterrent. And I would just say there was another parade recently with American military equipment, and that was in Kabul, and that was the Taliban, and that was Joe Biden's legacy. So
remember that one.
Yes. Yeah. So under Joe Biden, that 4 years, he diminished our fighting capacity and our deterrent value so badly. Good on Donald Trump for so quickly remedying the situation.
All right. Well, we have a lot more on deck coming up on the big weekend show. Be All You Can Be. Tonight's celebration includes a U.S. Army re-enlistment ceremony. And we'll be speaking to some of those brave men and women fighting for our freedom. But first, a Fox News alert. The left is trying to rain on America's parade with protests, and the president has a stern warning if they turn violent.
Alright, can't play that music. My god, that just came out of left field. Look at this fucking people blocking the road.
A couple hours later, yeah?
Yeah, go ahead, continue.
A couple hours later, there was a pretty quick shift in tone.
Yeah, I don't want to hear Soy Boy talking about his coordination of a riot. So we're looking at people blocking the everyday person's day-to-day here, just driving home, driving to wherever they need to go. Absolute craziness. This is like, what, the 8th day now? The 9th day, I believe?
That guy in the building? Did you see that red ball on his stomach?
God, that was loud.
But before that, or was it after, the dude with the umbrella? You know, they had the umbrellas and they hit him, boom, 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 3 times in the umbrella. That cop had good aim, dude. I don't know about these other cops, but that one had good aim.
A lot of people on the balcony.
Oh. Oh, shit.
You have the scanner?
Yeah. People say something in San Pedro was going down. But I think they meant San Pedro, the street.
Oh, yeah, the helicopter's not here. So where are the helicopters at? What is it saying?
Take it. Put it on your ear. Don't take the phone. Second in Los Angeles. We're gonna push north right now. Time is it there? It's 8:19 p.m.
Yeah, they're on San Pedro.
No, you're fine.
First in Los Angeles.
These guys got relieved though, no?
3rd and Broadway.
They're not going over there though.
They're asking for units at 3rd and Broadway, right?
All right, check this out, guys. People in the middle of the road blocking cars again.
Homeland and ICE and all of this happening in LA, is that right?
Yeah, no kings means it's pretty straightforward that America should not have kings.
Yeah, nobody cares what you have to say, buddy. Donald Trump's your dad. So we have a bunch of people here on the sidewalk, couple in the middle of the intersection. It's a very busy intersection, too. A couple cruisers just went by. Not a single one of them stopped to do anything about this. So, yeah, look at this. Just wild. We had protest footage in Austin and in San Antonio. We had protest footage in Las Vegas, and it looks like there's still something going on in Las Vegas. Not to the degree it was before. This corner was filled with people. It looks like they remained somewhat peaceful in Vegas. But Salt Lake City, no, that wasn't peaceful at all. What we're seeing here, not very peaceful as well. These so-called peaceful protests, believe it or not, they aren't peaceful. Shocking.
In general, when you think of the protests that you had planned, whether people are for it, whether they're against it, how do you make, or what is your take on how it was pulled off and how it went on your end?
From the actual No Kings protests themselves, I think that we've done a remarkable job of getting anywhere from, as has been reported, between 5 and 11 million people out on the streets across the country and even more around the world, united in solidarity against authoritarian actions taken by the government, against executive overreach, but more importantly, in community with each other. That is beautiful, and it is horrifying and disgusting the way that someone in Salt Lake City tried to destroy that, and in the same way that in this morning, someone attacked 2 political officials, again, apparently in reaction to the protests.
That's right. Salt Lake City Mayor Aaron Mendenhall said that, we deserve to feel safe, especially when exercising our First Amendment rights. Salt Lake police reporting they did take the suspected shooter into custody. Unfortunately, the person who was shot does have life-threatening injuries, so that's always disturbing to hear as people take peacefully to the streets that someone would show up with a gun and shoot someone else. Of course, the shooting is still under investigation, but it did happen at the protest as Hunter just mentioned. The message, Hunter, because the message may have gotten hijacked temporarily. We had people on the ground. They were speaking to the protesters. They heard their messages. They heard their stories. What is the message you hope that people take from today's day of national protest?
That they aren't peaceful, even though you claim they are time and time again. That if you are an illegal in the country, you are probably going to be sent home. And, yeah, once again, Donald Trump is your papa. So you might as well just deal with it.
This is in Van Nuys, where earlier this morning there was also a protest from Panorama City to the federal building in Van Nuys, but where several protesters still remain. And now we're seeing this for the first time. We're seeing protesters take to the intersection. Obviously, on Van Nuys Boulevard, there is a green light. You see the traffic moving back and forth. Obviously, stressful, extremely dangerous for protesters, for drivers alike. This is Victory Boulevard and Van Nuys Boulevard, right there in the heart of Van Nuys, just about a mile or so away from the Federal Building and LAPD Van Nuys headquarters. LAPD is aware of what's happening. They're keeping a close eye on what's occurring here, but this is the first time that we're seeing a small group of protesters. Some of them are on bicycles, you see there, with flags. There's somebody with an American flag taken to the intersection, and now travel eastbound on Victory has the green light, and they're having to go around the protesters. So this is something you don't want to see, and we know the LAPD is monitoring this closely, and we would expect to see some officers arriving here shortly, if only to get those protesters to the safety of the sidewalk and not allow them to be in the middle of the street. It's dangerous for them. It's dangerous for everybody.
It's a reminder that there have been protests in many parts of Southern California today. Obviously, the big one we've been following has been in the downtown LA area. This being Van Nuys, not surprising to see on Saturday night protests pick up or start elsewhere. They were scheduled for various times throughout Southern California. But the people in the street, that is concerning because that is dangerous. That is where cars are driving, and you don't want somebody to get hurt or hit. You have people who are watching across the nation who might support, should support peaceful protest, but blocking traffic, that's not part of it. Being in this middle of the street, that's not part of it. Right now, we're watching a fairly small crowd there in Van Nuys, but they seem to be quite vocal and exercising their right to speak out. But in the middle of the road there, where somebody could get hit or hurt or an accident happen, that is a little more concerning, even though it's a small group right now.
That's right. Van Nuys and Victory Boulevard. Van Nuys Boulevard has been the scene of protests all day long, starting early this morning. But again, this is the first time that we're seeing protesters take to the middle of the street. We know that LAPD is keeping a close eye. And now we see a car going, oh no, it's trying to make a right turn, but you have people in the middle of the intersection, and you have people also in the crosswalk. And now the green light is obviously on Victory, and you still have those people in the middle of the street there. And traffic is very heavy on Victory and Van Nuys Boulevard. At any hour, it's usually very busy.
And then you think of a Saturday night where not everybody in LA went to the protest. Just making my way here, I was thinking of all the people who were going about their day in whatever fashion. Some were wanting to watch the parade celebrating the Army's birthday on television. President Trump did speak as well. So you have that counter picture of what happened in Washington, D.C. with the counter picture of the No Kings protests across the nation. This is a Saturday night in the Van Nuys area, very far from downtown LA for people who don't know the area. Van Nuys is in the valley, as we say. It is north of the 134 freeway. It is near the 405 freeway. We're downtown, obviously, near very different freeways. There is no curfew in this area like there is in that 1 square mile area of the downtown LA area. I'm thinking of motorists who may not want to be a part of this or get caught up in this. This is an area.
Somebody's gonna get hit.
Area, Van Nuys and Victory. It can be alarming to get caught up in people in the street. It can feel alarming to not know where to go or not want to hit somebody. But there you have a crowd there who feels that they want to make their voices heard in the middle of the street. You have that white car. I don't know if they're able to make a left. They're trying to make a left. Their cars are trying to navigate around the people there.
And I understand that LAPD may be on the way there now. They're also monitoring the situation. I wanted to see if we could go to our other camera right now, the one that I believe is on 2nd, where I understand arrests are being made right now. Do we have that other camera up that we can take a look? This is our other camera. We're just sort of moving around to get a better shot, but we understand that on 2nd, arrests were now being made and people were seen being taken into custody. But that camera, I'm not sure if that's this camera or we do see the flashing lights of police officers. Mario Ramirez is on his way to LAPD headquarters right now for an official update, hopefully from the chief of police, Jim McDonnell. And you're looking live. This is downtown Los Angeles, and we understand that some people were being taken into custody. And we will get the numbers of people arrested. Hundreds have now been arrested during this 8 days of protest. Today is the 8th day, and we expect the numbers to be significantly higher tomorrow. The curfew did work for a while. It's not working apparently tonight. Maybe.
It may be. It may be.
Yeah.
LAPD was able to push the crowd out of the direct downtown LA area. We're going to talk to Mayor Karen Bass in just moments, but Gigi, what are you pointing out there?
This is Little Tokyo, and that is the bank, actually, I believe, that was closed yesterday. These are the boarded up businesses that you were seeing in downtown Los Angeles. That yesterday we walked all of Little Tokyo, and businesses boarded up and closed. And I don't know if do we have the mayor on the line already?
Yeah, we do. Mayor Karen Bass, thank you so much for joining us. Christine Devine here with Gigi Graciette on a Saturday night. As you're watching live what's happening in downtown LA right now, the curfew on for about 30 minutes, where does the city stand tonight?
Well, I think the city stands enforcing the curfew. Overall, today was peaceful, considering how many protests took place. There were about 15 different protests.
Holy Christ, talk about out of touch. It was peaceful, even though one of your officers is injured and somebody is critically injured in the hospital. Yeah, peaceful, by the way. So we're looking at a multicam here. Numerous feeds. That intersection, still crazy. Still an absolute nightmare. I don't know why they pulled away from that. Looking at another feed here. Looks like people did donuts in that intersection right there. Let's see what's going on here.
Probably sitting a couple of
They know, like, people don't give a shit. The cops don't give a shit about anything but this right now.
Crap, dude, you almost gave me a heart.
I thought they were going to arrest it. Were you here when they pushed everyone in that corner right there?
Yeah, and they're trying to go through the fence.
And they jumped over the fence?
Yeah.
I thought they were going to arrest everybody there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think Melissa and Darla.
Yeah. Curfew is in effect. So we go back to 1080? Oh no. Not right now. Oh shit, we might not be able to go through here. We can probably go to the parking lot there.
I haven't said a word.
No, I had to end it because
I don't care whose side.
there were just too many people there, dude. They had network congestion. It kept buffering. So I restarted the second stream, this part 2. And yours too?
Yeah, I was looking at yours. You were choppy. I was looking at mine. Mine was choppy. It was just like 1 frame a second.
Did you restart or you kept going?
I redid my settings.
Oh. What are you using? Prism?
No.
Camera?
Yeah. But what you do is you go on there.
Alright, I don't know where those guys are going, but we got this one right here.